Okay, so I just want to come right out and just tell you that this is a dumb video, like a really stupid video. Like, it took me a couple hours to edit this and I will never get that time back in my life, and for that reason I'm uploading it because I don't want that time to be completely useless and wasted. So, just you've been warned. This is a stupid video. It's a dumb concept, poorly executed. Leave now while you have the chance. How's it going, super friends? Welcome back to my channel and to another smokingly irrelevant video. For those of you who show up to my channel looking for action figure reviews, the rubber has hit the road and I'm doing a lot more stuff that is not action figure based. Well, technically you could kind of say that this video is sort of action figure based because it's going to deal with Lego minifigures, but really it's not an action figure video. Also, I need to point out my deepest and sincerest apologies for this very distracting white head that is on the tip of my nose. I know you saw it. Allow me to cover it up first. That's better. So as you all know, you came here because you wanted to see what superheroes and villains from the Lego DC universe that I thought I could beat up, or maybe would beat me up, or which ones would be a fair fight. I honestly can't see, like, anything out of this mask. How did the guys that played the Ninja Turtles see anything? This whole thing is like, it was a trend. It was like a, just for a little while, like a very small trend. Okay, it wasn't really a trend. And I'd already made a video that was like, which DC heroes and villains would I be able to beat up and take in a fight? And then I'd recorded the video, and then I saw that this chart existed, and I was like, dudes, I want to use the chart instead. That looks like definitely a much better way to do this. So I deleted the whole video, and I'm recording this one now. Okay, that's a bad idea. Hang on. Okay. Let's use a Band-Aid instead. Okay. Oh no, it's not sticky. Okay, so as you can see, I've got before us an array of DC Comics heroes and villains of the Lego minifigure variety, and there's 3 places on this little chart they can go. They would absolutely kick my ass, fair fight, or I could definitely kick their ass. Okay, so the first one I want to do is the lovely Starfire, and in any universe, be it the goofy Lego universe or the DC universe proper, Starfire would absolutely hand me my arse because, let's face it, she's very beautiful and I'd probably be just overtaken by her beauty and her pink hair, and and plus, not to mention, she's got a really awesome power set, so she could just like burn my face off. So I'm gonna put her over here in the, about here, in the, she would absolutely kick my ass. And next we have Poison Ivy, a character who I know that she's got them there feminine wiles that she would usually use to, you know, get the men under control and doing that which she wants them to do, her little transformy kiss of love slavery. Really, you just need a good can of weed spray, you know, like a plant killer, and she's toast anyway, right? Because she's a plant-based being now. Her basic chemistry has changed. So I'm gonna say that as far as beating her, I could absolutely, definitely kick her butt right there. That's where she goes. Next we have Captain Boomerang, and this is the old school Captain Boomerang with his, as you can see here, he's wearing his boomerang PJs, covered in boomerangs. He actually kind of looks like a 1970s flight stewardess, maybe mixed in with someone that would have worked at a burger joint in the 80s. I think that I could definitely beat him because, I mean, how many boomerangs does the guy have? I just need to dodge his boomerangs and just wait him out, and then eventually he has no more boomerangs left, and I could just walk up and kick him in the nuts. So he is definitely in the I could kick his ass pile. So over there you go. Then we have Dr. Fate. Dr. Fate's a character I wouldn't be afraid of at all, because you take off that helmet and he ain't nothing. So Dr. Fate also goes in the I could definitely kick his ass pile. And how about Hawkman with the nth metal technology there that allows him to fly with that flight harness? This apparently is the new 52 version, and man, I don't even know who is who anymore. Katar Hall, Carter Hall. I don't even know who's. I can't even remember who I think he was Katar Hall. I think. I don't think that I could beat Hawkman in a fight. Hawkman is usually pretty good at going toe-to-toe with even the best of DC's heroes. He always seems to be able to you know, stand his ground for a little while. So at this point, I'm not really convinced that I would stand any kind of a chance against Hawkman. So he's going to go up here in the he would kick my ass pile. And what about the Riddler? The Riddler's a chump. He reads riddles. He makes riddles. That's all he does. He just tries to stump you. He'd be reading riddles. Riddle me this, and I just feed him his teeth. I would totally kick his butt. Shut up, turtle. My turtle is right over here trying to climb up on his little floaty thing to get some sun. I got these heat lamps up there. He's trying to look at him. He's like, oh, he knows I'm filming him. He's totally looking at us. Now my camera's all messed up. And next we have Lobo, the main man, and I don't think that I would beat him in a fair fight ever. Like, no matter what. He's way more experienced than I am, and he's pretty much unkillable. He's like the badass 1980s/90s heavy metal version of Deadpool, kind of. Yeah, I wouldn't stand a chance against Lobo. Actually, almost nobody stands a chance against Lobo. He's one of DC's finest badasses, so he's absolutely over here. I'm going to stick him right there, because I wouldn't stand a chance. And then we have the OMAC. And I gotta say, if it was an army of OMACs, I don't think I would stand any chance at all. I mean, we saw what the OMACs did in the DC universe during the Second Crisis. You know, Brother Eye, with those OMACs, really did some big stuff. But as far as one OMAC, I mean, all I'd need to do is shoot it in the one eye with something, and then it can't see me. I think I would probably stand a fair fight against the OMACs. So for that reason, I am going to put it right here in the very middle, right there. Fair fight. I think I might be able to take an OMAC. And what about the Red Tornado? He is an elemental, a lot of wind, so I certainly think that I would have a pretty good fight on my hands, but he's never been around me after a heavy night of drinking where I've got a lot of gas and I'm producing a lot of my own wind, if you catch my drift. And so while he's doing his little tornado hands at me and all that kind of stuff, I could just totally bend over and crack a few good farts off in his direction. And not only would I have probably at least equal to the wind power, the wind force that Red Tornado has, but mine would also stink something fierce. And so I think for that reason, I stand a very good chance of being able to defeat the Red Tornado in a fair fight. Actually, my superpower pretty much is breaking wind. It pretty much is farting. So I'm going to put that as about here. Sorry, I was going the wrong direction. About here. And now we have Jessica Cruz, a character which I'm absolutely convinced would hand my ass to me on a silver platter. At least now. When she was scared, fearful Jessica Cruz, maybe I could have beat her. I could have maybe thrown some words at her to cause her to doubt her self-worth and her abilities and get her to want to just go run up and hide in her apartment again. But not Jessica now. Jessica now is a badass maiden in her own right. And if you haven't been reading the Justice League Odyssey, then you're totally missing out on some really awesome Jessica Cruz character development. And I'm going to put her over here, probably there. And what about the Reverse Flash, Eobard Thawne? He's a guy with a big chip on his shoulder, and he's very angry at a lot of people, especially Barry Allen. And, you know, I kind of think I could use that. I could exploit that in a battle with him. I don't think I could last that long unless I found a way to slow him down, possibly borrow some freeze tech from Captain Cold or Mr. Freeze and slow down his molecular structure a little bit so that the fight would be fair. But for that reason, exploiting his weakness and possibly slowing him down, I think that I could stand to have at least a fair fight with the Reverse Flash. And I say that knowing that really he's one of the most powerful villains in the entire DC universe. But I think I could have a fair fight with him. And then we have Lord Darkseid. And at first you might think that I would absolutely think that Darkseid would kick my ass in just a moment, with what being, you know, a god and all, and pretty much the embodiment of evil, and living, you know, pretty much on DC's version, at least one of DC's versions of hell. I mean, there's something to be said for Trigon, but honestly, as far as I'm concerned, to beat old Rockface, all I need to do to bring to the fight, I just need to hide a reasonable size mirror in my pocket. That way when he shoots the Omega Beams at me, I just whip the mirror out, and his Omega Beams hit the mirror, and they just go right back at him, and he shoots himself with his Omega Beams. So for that reason, I really think that I stand a pretty good chance. If the mirror thing didn't work, I'd be screwed, but I'm going to stick him about here. And he's bigger than the rest because he's bigger than the rest. And then here we have the 66 classic TV show Burt Ward Robin. I could have gone with many other different versions of Robin, like Jason Todd, or the comic book version of Dick Grayson, or Damian, or Stephanie, or Duke, but in the end I decided to go with the 66 television show version because he's the one that would give me the best fighting chance. I mean, did you see what he looked like in the Crisis on Infinite Earths Earth 66 version before that Earth was destroyed?
Holy crimson skies of death!
He's all fat, old, and out of shape. He's clearly not been hitting the gym, but he has been hitting up the burger joints and pizza places all around Gotham. So at this point, I don't think that this guy would stand even a couple seconds in the ring with me. So I'm going to put him over here, as I could definitely kick him. I'm going to put him slightly off the chart because I could kick his ass so hard that his grandchildren would feel it. And unto the 10th generation, I could totally kick this Robin's ass. And then we have Lego Batman. I chose this version because this is my favorite look for Lego Batman. Pouches, solid bat, blue and gray. My absolute favorite. But could I beat him in a fight is the question. Not do I like how he looks. And I think the obvious answer is no. Not on any Earth, in any timeline, ever could I ever beat the Batman. Because he's Batman and he prepares for everything. So really, we all know that there's absolutely nobody in the DC universe that could ever beat Batman. Except for Deathstroke, he did that once. Bane did also before. Numerous times Superman has, but you get my point. He's Batman. So I'm just going to go with Batman would likely hand me my ass on a platter. There'd be nothing I could do. So Batman is going over here. He is going to go right all the way over. He's going to be the epitome right here of he could kick my ass and be right there with the arrow. What about the Flash? First of all, to clarify, this is the New 52/Rebirth Barry Allen version of the Flash. So not quite the fastest man alive, but certainly one of the fastest. But could I beat him? Well, it depends. I mean, currently what's happening is he's losing his speed. So that combined with the same way that I beat the Reverse Flash with some freeze tech, and I might be able to stand a chance, although Barry is definitely a very smart individual, and he's also on the police force. So that means he would have had to have some basic police training, of which I don't have. So, you know, I'm going to say that I likely could not beat him, but I still might be able to. So I'm going to stick him over here beside Darkseid. And then we have Oliver, the Green Arrow, one of DC's greatest creations. Could I beat him in a fight? Well, who am I kidding? The Green Arrow would waste me. It'd be all over. A fight with Green Arrow would absolutely end in the end of my ass, because he would kick it so hard, he would obliterate my ass with his Green Arrow boot. So I'm going to put him over here in the he definitely kick my ass pile. The Red Hood, that's an obvious yes, he would kick my ass on account of he's already died once by way of crowbar and explosion, and so he's got a lot of nothing to lose. He is probably one of DC's most badass superheroes. And in my opinion, as much as Batman is one of the greatest heroes of all time, and I like him better than Red Hood, I kind of feel like in some ways Red Hood is like the modern version of Batman. He is very dark, very brutal, and comes very close to the line, and where Batman seems to stay a little bit farther away from it. I'm not saying I like him better than Batman, but I certainly think that Red Hood would do what it takes to make sure that he kicked my ass in the next Tuesday. I wouldn't want to get shot in the wiener with one of those rubber bullets. Firestorm, there's a good question, because Firestorm is a character that is very largely overlooked in the DC universe by a lot of people, but he is actually really, really powerful. No matter who the character is behind the fiery head, They all have the same power set, and that power set is absolutely amazing. To transmute things from one thing to another is a crazy power set. Although, technically, if we are to believe comics canon, all you have to do is puncture the firestorm, and then he has to fly up, into the atmosphere and go off and explode. Fair fight. I'm going to say fair fight. Sinestro, a character that I absolutely know that, without a doubt, he is ruthless in every single way and would not hesitate to think up some kind of horrible, nasty way to kill me with his fear ring, his fear-powered ring. I can think of a million ways I wouldn't want him to kill me, involving buzzsaws and pickaxes. And do you see what he did in the Injustice 2 storyline, or was it Injustice 1? I can't remember, where he killed Kyle Rayner in space by simply cutting off his finger, and then Kyle Rayner's suit just dissipated and he just died naked, cold, and afraid and alone in the vacuum of space. Oh my god. That was dark. That was probably one of the darkest comic book moments I'd seen in the DC Universe in a long time. So I would really just not want to mess with Sinestro. He's going over into the absolutely would kick my ass pile. John Stewart, the Green Lantern with an architect's brain, a military background, excellent sniper, but the baggage of feeling terrible for being responsible for the death of an entire planet. Although, if we're to believe modern comics in the past year, I believe, in the Justice League, he had to come to grips with the fact that he did that. And I certainly think he's a lot stronger for it. So maybe he would be... Nah, you know what? I'm going to say that John Stewart, yeah, he's over in the he would absolutely kick my ass pile. I can't even pretend that I might be able to beat him because... No, I don't think I would. He's not cocky like Hal, and he's not like Kyle, so I'm going to say definitely he would beat me. He goes over here. What about Hawk Girl? She's got a temper, and she's a bit of a loose cannon, so I'm going to say that I could probably at least stand a fair fight with her, because let's face it, when you're a loose cannon and you do things that maybe you shouldn't have done, you end up regretting later. That can give me the upper hand. I just gotta piss her off enough, make her upset enough, and she might do something rash. And if she doesn't succeed in her attack attempt, then she leaves herself wide open for me to kick her in the face. Hal Jordan, Green Lantern. I think that he's definitely a lantern to be reckoned with, especially with his background as Parallax and also as the Spectre. He's got all kinds of work experience, but I definitely think that I could exploit his cockiness and find a way, to exploit it in such a way that gives me the upper hand. You got to find their weaknesses, and so I think that with Hal Jordan, I could definitely, goes without saying, I could kick his ass into next Tuesday. He wouldn't stand a chance. Sorry, Hal, I love you, but you suck, at least compared to me. I'm a boss. Shazam! Could I beat Captain Marvel? And yes, I'm calling him Captain Marvel because that is his name. I don't care what anyone says. Could I beat the Cap? I don't know. You know what? If I managed to play a trick on him, you know how you gotta get Mixuplick to say his name backwards and then he has to bugger off back to his world, which we find out he actually never really had to. He was just playing nice. If I could somehow trick Billy Batson into saying the word again, somehow, like Looney Tunes style, like yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, no, yes, like one of those kind of things, then I think that I could probably beat Shazam in a fight, but I don't know for sure. It would all hinge on how dumb he was at the time. Could I trick him? I know he's got the wisdom of Solomon, okay, so don't come at me with that. He's got the wisdom of Solomon. I know he's got the wisdom of Solomon, but that doesn't mean that, look at all the dumb stuff he does in the comics, right? So there's a chance I could beat him. Aquaman, Arthur Curry, certainly one of DC's best characters, certainly underused, and I definitely think that quite often authors don't really know what to do with the Aquaman because he's not like Superman or Wonder Woman or Batman. So I think for that I could exploit that. You've seen how he reacts in the comic books when people, when they want to see Superman or Batman, it's like he's just Aquaman. Ain't no one cares about him. He probably just goes home and drinks a six-pack and cries himself to sleep every night. So I'm pretty sure that I could get Aquaman. I'd go to a pub with him, get him good and hammered, and then just push him down the stairs. Wow. We do not have very many left. Superman, Cheetah, Wonder Woman, Joker, Supergirl, Lex Luthor, Cyborg, and the Martian Manhunter. That's all we have left. Next we have the Martian Manhunter, John Jones, from the planet Mars. A character who is lean, green, mean, and ready to eat Oreos. Could I beat him in a fight? Well, I don't know. He has the weakness to fire, but we know that that's actually a mental thing. It's not a physical thing. And depending on where we are in DC timeline, he's either overcame it or he hasn't. Could I toss a bag of Oreos at him and distract him? You know, he goes for the Oreos and I go for the ball sack. I'm not really sure. But let's face it, he's a character that has pretty much all of Superman's powers, depending on where he is. I know in the New 52 it was said that Superman was more powerful than the Martian Manhunter, but again, it depends on which author is writing which book, you know, to determine who is more powerful. It really is kind of a moot point, but we do know that he is at least, most of the time, depicted as having a power set that is at least on par with Superman. Flight, supersonic speed, a little bit slower than Superman's, but invulnerability, super strength. He can shoot the lasers out of his eyes, except for we don't call it heat vision when he does it. Although he can also go intangible, and he can read your thoughts, and he can even control people in certain instances. So this, I think that the Martian Manhunter, because he is an alpha level threat, and he probably got made fun of a lot on Earth because he's green, so he's probably got a very big rage problem. I'm going to say that I don't think I would stand a chance at all. I think that the Martian Manhunter would hand me my arse. Hands down. Now what about Lex Luthor? Could I defeat Lex Luthor? Well, there's a reason why Superman always manages to beat him. And I think the number one reason is because Luthor is so full of himself. He consistently underestimates his enemies, his opponents. He thinks he's got everything all buttoned up. And then, what do you know? He's so damn cocky and full of himself that he's missed a few things. And he always ends up being defeated in the end. Every single time Superman defeats him. And don't get me wrong, people tend to think that Superman's of average intelligence. He's not. Superman is incredibly smart. He is one of the smartest characters in the DC universe, but I tend to think that Lex Luthor has more of an apex mind compared to Superman's, and so it's about exploiting his weakness. So I think that I could absolutely win in a fair fight against Mr. Luthor. I would stand a chance if I managed to exploit his weaknesses. What about the Cyborg? That's a tough one. That is absolutely a tough one, because he does have that mother box tech, and that's huge. Like, a mother box is an amazing piece of apocalyptic technology. It does more than just open boom tubes. It's like a supercomputer that is also sentient in the palm of your hand. And so he's got all that tech flowing through him. And then currently right now in Justice League Odyssey, he's one of Darkseid's new gods who is hiding in kind of like a little pocket protected universe, so that, you know, when Perpetua, if she was to win, Darkseid and his new gods would be protected away from all of that. Kind of like a life raft out of the DC universe. So I don't know. I would have to say that the Cyborg would actually, Victor would likely just kick the living snot out of me. Yeah, I'm putting Victor in the he would beat me up pile over here, for sure. They would absolutely kick my ass. Wonder Woman, Diana of Themyscira, I don't think I'd stand a chance against her, unless of course I tossed her an ice cream, and then she'd be all about that ice cream, and I might have a fighting chance. But I think that she's had enough ice cream by now that the whole ice cream distraction, you know, Dickie D on a 3-wheeled ice cream cycle with the jingle bells on it, probably wouldn't do much, you know, to deter her. So at this point, Wonder Woman, I think, also would likely definitely kick my ass. Like, she's down here with Batman. I wouldn't stand a chance. The Cheetah, well, she gives Wonder Woman a run for her money. So I mean, I could technically on those grounds say that, you know, the Cheetah could definitely beat me. But could she? I mean, let's face it, could she? I mean, all you need with the Cheetah is a nice good sack of catnip, and she's done. She's stoned. She's laying down on the ground, licking her paws, crapping in the litter box. So, no, you know what? I think as far as Cheetah goes, I would definitely beat her. Cheetah is over here in the she don't stand a chance pile, because I would absolutely kick her little pussy ass. And I say that because, like, that's what you call a cat, right? A cat's like a pussy cat. I'd kick her pussy cat ass. And next we have Supergirl. Now this is, I believe, actually technically the Matrix Supergirl, with the red skirt, boots, and just the whole look of the suit. I don't think she looked like that beforehand, and I don't think that she looked like that after. I think that's very specific to Matrix's look as far as I can remember. Could I beat her? I think as Matrix, I think I would stand a chance. However, if we were to look at this like it's Kara Zor-El, unless I got some kryptonite handy or I'm really good with magic spells and stuff, I could maybe exploit her brokenheartedness for the death of the planet Krypton that she actually remembers. But I'm going to say that Kara Zor-El, with all of her teenage angst, would absolutely, definitely kick the living crap out of me. Last two, we have the Joker and Kal-El, Clark Kent, Superman, the last son of Krypton. And we're going to save Superman for last, and we're going to go with the Joker. And I think, as for the Joker, I'm not sure. I probably couldn't beat the Joker on account of the Joker is incredibly hard to figure out exactly what he's going to do. He's very anarchistic and unpredictable. Does the gun have a bang flag in it? Or is it actually loaded? Or is it both? Right? We never know what the Joker's going to do. He's way too unpredictable to have a nailed down pattern of behavior. So I'm going to say that the Joker would likely hand me my ass on a silver platter with very little that I could do or say about it. So he's going down here in the he would kick my ass pile. And finally, we have Krypton's last son, Kal-El, the man of tomorrow, Superman. Could I beat him? Well, in the regular DC universe, we know that he's always holding back because he cares about people. He wants the very best for people, and you really have to get the big guy fired up for him to use enough force to seriously hurt you. He's always holding back, trying to use just enough force to stop you, to immobilize you, but he doesn't really ever want to hurt you. And so I could totally exploit that, as many villains have in the DC universe over the years, but even then he always finds a way to win because he's Superman. He's the symbol of hope in the DC universe. But remember, this is not the regular DC universe. This is the Lego DC universe, and that means that this Superman is a bit of an airhead and very cocky. You know, doesn't really get it. They play him off like he's a little bit almost dumb. So for that reason, I think that for this version of Superman, I think that I would stand a bit of a fair fight. I'm not saying I beat him. I'm not saying I'd absolutely kick his ass, but I don't think he'd kick mine either. So I'm going to stick him somewhere over here in fair fight land, like maybe here. So that's it. This is my final chart, my final tally. I am going to move Captain Boomerang over just underneath Robin to show that I really think that I could take Captain Boomerang. I think that's pretty accurate. That they would absolutely kick my ass pile involving Batman, Wonder Woman, Red Hood. And I think over here, I could definitely kick all these guys' asses. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I would absolutely waste all these people. And then a fair fight over here. Isn't it funny how Shazam and Superman are both in the middle? Along with Darkseid and Flash and Reverse Flash. I gotta admit, this whole thing is stupid. What a dumb idea. I can't believe you made it this far. Anyway, take care guys, have a DC day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.